my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time, no, that's not my language. It's nonsense. And frankly, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I don't know if we're wasting our time because this clearly does bother you. You know, we want the justice too, but like it does seem to really bother you that it's still a story, and it should still be a story. I mean, this is, I think, you know, he loves to throw out the worst scandal in America. Every single thing that happens, whether it's just, you know, invented by him, Otto Penn, worst scandal in America. This is one of the worst cover-ups in decades that I can think of. There's been worse things that the government has done. There's worse things that private individuals have done. But in terms of a cover-up operating in full transparency, we can see it happening every day from the top of the White House. There's never been anything like this. And so let's get now into the evidence, because we've got this birthday card. Here is the card. It's quite generous. And so he wants you to believe that that's not his signature. I mean, I couldn't do his signature as well as that. And why would someone in 2003 have pretended it? Why exactly? I mean, there's rich and famous people all up and down this birthday book. Some of them Democrats. Bill Clinton, after he was president, by the way, is in the book. And so like you might think, well, maybe they forged it, you know, because he wants to have powerful people in there. But like you guys had been friends for decades. It's not like it was a stretch that you would sign the card. You guys hung out all the time. The stretch would be that you wouldn't sign the card after all of that. And so did Donald Trump do the actual outlines of this? Can we bring it up again? Like in terms of the like actual, I don't know. I think that he probably would have exaggerated the breasts more knowing Donald Trump. Did he actually type the dialogue? I don't know. It's a couple decades ago. His brain hadn't decayed quite so much. Maybe he could write dialogue like that. Maybe not. Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell typed it up and he just signed it. But it's definitely his signature. But forget about all that, because the dear leader has an order for you. Now, hear these words and comply. I don't comment on something that's a dead issue. I gave all comments to the staff. It's a dead issue. Oh, I feel like a dumb donkey. Producer Ashley, why do we have this on the run? I didn't know it was a dead issue. I had yesterday off. I didn't know it was a dead issue. And as we all know, the target, the focus of a scandal is the one who decides when it's done, after all. If you ever get caught in bed with a little dalliance, you know, a little side piece or something, just turn to your partner and say, get off my back. This is a dead issue, because that's how it works. No, that's not how it works at all. It's alive and it's kicking and it's creepy as all hell. I think that we showed this yesterday. I'm not sure if we had the image yesterday, but there's also this, which by the way, this isn't like Trump didn't sign this one or whatever. And like we think that the image is doctored or whatever, but it was doctored back in 2003. And it paints a picture of a social scene that knew what it was. All of these people knew who Epstein was and knew what Epstein's relationship with Trump was. When you have this novelty check where you're selling a woman or whatever, I'm not putting this up on the screen because I think that literally happened necessarily. I mean, maybe it did, but even if it didn't, all of these people knew what the score was. And there was a point brought up on a podcast I was listening to, it might've been the news agents, where they said the way these sorts of things work is you get a request to send in a letter or something, you send it in. It's not like this is 2003. This isn't one of those online services where you can see everybody's signature or whatever when you do it. You're just sending it into the billionaire's agent, they put it together or whatever. And so none of these people presumably knew what the others were saying. They're doing it independently. And yet they all, or at least tons of them, land on, I'm gonna say something super pervy. You know how you end up with that? When everybody knows the deal. When everybody knows who Jeffrey Epstein is, and they can include jokes about Trump because they know Trump and Epstein, and they know what they say and what they do when it comes to women. That's the only way you end up here, okay? Is everybody very clearly knows. They may not have known that Epstein was with 14-year-olds or whatever, maybe, but they definitely knew the sort of relationship in the social scene that was happening there. And with every letter that comes out, it's even grosser. And not all of them are gross just for, Trump and Epstein or whatever. Bill Clinton talking about Epstein's childlike curiosity or whatever is pretty damn gross, Sharon. What do you think?
I think pigs like to kind of just get in it together. That's what I think. Look, I guess Donald Trump he lies so much that I think he doesn't even try to make them intricate lies. All the pieces don't have to fit. He could have said, hey, listen, I don't know, people put stuff in front of me and I sign it, but you would remember if someone put that giant picture in front of you and said, hey, sign this. You would say, what is this? Are those boobs? So, this whole thing is one of the trashier aspects in American scandal, I'll say. Yeah. And he's right in the thick of it. He's thicker than we even perhaps thought it was initially. We thought, well, sure. I'm sorry if that grossed you out. He's part of this thing, or he knew the guy and he's running from that. Now, a lot of people have reason to believe he's deeper into this.
Yeah.
Sick. Piglet-like behavior.
Yeah, you're right. This is like Trump Cankle's thick, in the thick of it at this point. I will say, to some extent, I think this story might be not dead, but like, what does this show? It shows that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein had a really weird and secretive relationship that seemed to center around pursuing young women. And you know what we knew a week ago and a month ago? We knew that thing already, actually. So I don't know. There's no piece of it. Trump could stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot a confession video of him being a pedophile, and it wouldn't convince many of these people. But it is yet more evidence of the relationship they had. And while we enjoy talking about it, there are many people who do not want it to be talked about. Not only Donald Trump, but let's turn now to the others. Mike Johnson and his party have been claiming all along that they want all the details about Jeffrey Epstein released. Oh boy, do they want transparency. And Trump is a fighter for transparency as he declares the issue a dead issue months after he ordered Pam Bondi to close it down with no disclosure whatsoever. So you would think that they at least would be excited that the birthday letters have come out and all the cards and more information and evidence has come out, but it turns out, no, actually, they're not that happy about it, and they very much don't want to be asked about it. Take a look.
The president says he did not sign it, so I take the president at his word.
I trust what the president said, and the Oversight Committee is looking into it.
Mr. Speaker, do you think the Trump birthday note to Epstein is real?
I don't. They say it's not.
It's been there for 4 years, and now it's just come out. I just don't.
So you think really someone might have just forged this somehow?
Yeah, I mean, somehow it's so easy to do. I just don't buy any of it right now.
Have you seen that letter?
I've not, but I would love to see it like matched with his handwriting.
Yeah,
it just seems really wild. Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Because you're making it really tough for me to lie here. My excuse was going to be that I hadn't seen. You guys aren't supposed to come prepared. But Monterrey there was doing the thing that I always beg them to do. Do not ask them about a quote or a tweet without printing it out, okay? You need to have it on a piece of paper. I would have pre-unfolded it, to save some time or whatever. But it's to produce those moments where they're like, oh, if only I had seen it, I could comment. No, don't show it to me. And it makes them look like dinks, okay? And that guy looks like a massive dink. All of them do. And all the people are just like, well, they say it's fake. Oh, who? Trump? The most lying ass administration America's ever had. And yeah, sure, it's easy for me to say that as like a leftist or whatever. Mike Johnson knows that Donald Trump is the least trustworthy person in the world. He hates his goddamn guts. And so they're all lying about it. And not just them, Nancy Mace, remember, Tears for the Victims, says, I am so goddamn sick of being asked about an effing birthday card. Give me a break. What about the women who've been fighting for justice for 30 years and still don't have it? How does writing about a birthday card do anything to get them justice? It doesn't. Okay, yeah, no, that's true, but we are trying to get to the bottom of this, and it does feel like evidence. I mean, Trump lied and said that it didn't exist. So this feels like a part of that case. And if you think this is somehow, for some reason, a distraction, we should instead focus on the women, why are you being so fired up to Eric Garcia of The Independent or whatever? Why don't you say something to Donald Trump, who still hasn't met with any of the victims? And by the way, somebody brought up to him Like, when are you gonna meet with them? And his response was, no one's suggested that, which is not true. I've done it repeatedly and more reputable people have as well. And then he goes on to say, I haven't thought about it, which isn't technically true. I think that he has thought about how horrible it would be to have to be in a room with them. But I do love that months into this thing, his cover story is, I haven't even considered meeting with these women. Doesn't look great, does it, Sharon?
No, it doesn't. And if you're old enough to remember the scandal with Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, the dress, Linda Tripp, the whole thing, there was a point where his fellow Democrats went to the White House, banged on the door and said, look, you got to address this. You got to address it now. In fact, I think Stephanopoulos was on his staff and other people in the administration were saying, you have to talk to the American people. We can't get any work done here. Start a war, do something, but you have to address this, okay? Why not do that, Nancy Mace? Just go over there. It's probably a short walk, right? Isn't it a short walk, John? You just go over there and you say, hey, you got to tell everything. Release this stuff and let's get on to other things like the price of avocados, the tariffs, Ukraine, and now this plant in Georgia. Okay, and our friends, our allies don't want to work with us.
Yeah, can you imagine him trying to do like an Oval Office address to reassure the American people about this? Like in theory,
the one he did after January 6th. Remember when they finally convinced him?
Yeah.
Go out there and record it.
Yeah, I love you, insurrectionists. Can you imagine? Like in theory, if he wasn't who he was, they could put together some sort of 15-minute thing where he would pretend to care, like he did on the campaign trail, and he could actually reassure some of his followers, but that's not what would happen. If by some miracle he did do it, he would end up like calling them whores. I don't know. Like nobody knows what would happen when the camera starts rolling, but it would be a disaster and he would never do it, okay? Because for some reason on this issue, he just falls in trap after trap. He makes himself look so damn suspicious, declaring it a dead issue. It looks so bad for you. I just don't understand. Release more fake information. Seem like you're trying to help out. That's how you get through a scandal, you dumb donkey. But anyway, instead, he continues to make it worse.